Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Jenny and this is Arnold the Praying Penguin, and this is my daughter Georgia, who is now 1 year old by the time that you're watching this, which is absolutely crazy. I can't believe a whole year has gone past since she was born. But before I had Georgia and while I was pregnant, I heard a lot about how my life would change when I became a mum. And it was mostly kind of the negative, things that I wouldn't be able to do anymore, things that I should do before she got here, before she was born, things that she would stop me from doing. And there wasn't so much about the positives out there, how it would positively change my life, all the good things that she would bring into my life and help me to do. So today I wanted to talk about that, talk about all of the ways that being a mum over the last year has completely changed my life in a good way. And this isn't at all to say that there is nothing hard about being a mum, or nothing difficult or challenging. There totally is. But to me, these things are totally outweighed by the joy and the good things that she has brought into my life and that being a mum has brought into my life. So I've just got a few things noted down that I wanted to chat about. I'll try not to talk about these things for too long, partly because my daughter is down for a nap and she will wake up at some point and want to play. But the first way that being a mum has changed my life is that it's easier to meet people. Now, Georgia was born in early 2022, so we were kind of as we were coming out of COVID still. So nowhere near as bad as it was during the height of the pandemic, but there were certain things that were still not quite back face to face, not quite kind of up and running again. So I had certain groups that were being run over Zoom instead of in person, and the kind of social distancing wasn't as much time to kind of chit chat as there would have been in kind of normal times. So that did make it difficult to kind of meet people and make friends, but there's also so many opportunities to meet people and make friends as a mum. And I think being a mum has given me that confidence and that ability to just go up to people in different ways and say hello. If there's another mum in the park when I'm taking Georgia to play on the swings, I could just start talking to another mum because we have something in common, just automatically. We both have a child, and there's lots of easy ways to start a conversation. I can just ask how old their child is, ask how they're doing. Those kind of things are just very easy conversation starters that I wouldn't necessarily have had or felt able to do pre-having a baby. There's also the kind of organised formats, which we haven't been quite as good at going to, partly because I went back to work already, so I haven't had the opportunity so much to go to things like toddler groups and baby sensory classes and music groups and those kind of things. Although I think we will start to do more and more of that as Georgia is kind of more engaged and kind of wants to play with other kids as well. And to be honest, even just walking down the street, way more people will smile at us and say hello because we have a baby there. People are just interested in babies. They want to know the baby's name, they want to know how old they are, those kind of things. And don't get me wrong, there are drawbacks to that. There are people that are like a bit too nosy and a bit kind of annoying, but it's also really helpful if you do want to meet people and talk to people. The next way that motherhood has changed my life is that I turn to prayer more. Now, on this channel, we are Prayer and Penguins. This is Arnold the Praying Penguin. You might get the idea that we like prayer. We think prayer is great and awesome and really helpful. But I definitely think that becoming a mum and having Georgia has pushed me to turn to prayer more frequently. Just because there are so many situations where I feel out of control or like I can't help in certain situations. If you ever had a baby just scream at you for hours on end, you'll know what I mean. There's just that kind of almost like helpless feeling of, I know that I can't make a difference here, so God, can you just make a difference here, because I know that you can. And I think this was especially true while I was pregnant with Georgia, because she's inside me. There's nothing I can physically do to check on her, to help her, other than kind of staying healthy. But I just have to trust all of that to God and leave that in God's hands and pray and ask him to help in those situations. And there's been so many things like that where it's just helped me to turn to prayer more frequently. The next way that it's changed my life is that I care a lot more about providing for my family. Now, this isn't something that I necessarily thought about very much before. I did do it in different ways, but now it's something that I think about a lot. I think about how am I providing for my family, whether that's in terms of income and work, or whether it's in terms of getting food out of the kitchen for Georgia and making sure that she's fed And breastfeeding, for example, is another example of how I physically can provide for her. But I never expected those things to become so much of what I thought about during the day and things that I really cared about and really wanted to do to the best of my ability. Another way that being a mum has changed my life is that it has made me reflect on how I can improve myself in totally new ways than it did before. It made me think about the habits that I practice and the example that I set for my daughter, whether this is in terms of how I pray or how I study the Bible or the things that I watch on TV, the books that I read. Having Georgia has just made me think about the things that I do and the things that I want to do and the way that I want to raise her and the kind of mum that I want to be. And I think this is really helpful for all of us to do, whether you're a mum or not, just to think about the example that you're setting for other people in your life and the way that you live your life. Is that the way that you want to be seen? Is that the kind of person that you want to be? And if not, how can you improve? How can you get better at those things? Another way that being a mum has changed my life is that I'm more confident. Now, I wouldn't say that I ever particularly kind of struggled with confidence. I'm a fairly quiet person, fairly introverted, but I never kind of struggled with whether it was body image or anxiety or anything like that, thankfully. But I've certainly noticed since being a mum that I am more confident in lots of ways, whether that's confident to go and talk to people, whether that's confidence just in knowing that what I'm doing is best for my child, whether that's confidence in my body, knowing what my body can do in growing and giving birth to a human being, in lots of ways, really. And that isn't necessarily all the time with everything. There are definitely moments when I feel nervous or like I'm not doing something quite right, or what if I get this wrong, those kind of things. I think we all experience that. But overall, I'm definitely more confident than I was. And the final way that becoming a mum has changed my life is that I have more joy. I think there are so many ways that having a baby has made my life more fun and more joyful. Whether that's us going out and doing things as a family that are just really fun, whether that's just having this little human who is very cute and very funny. Honestly, it's quite amazing how even after she's spent like an hour screaming at you, she can just then smile at you and you're suddenly like, oh wow, this is the greatest human ever. She's adorable and the cutest thing, and brings me a lot of joy, even in the midst of that difficult situation. And I think this joy that she's brought into our lives is also very helpful when we've gone through kind of difficult situations in our lives. I think having her there, whether that's as a distraction from that stressful situation or just something else to focus our attention on, and something that continues to bring us joy even when everything else feels really difficult. I definitely think there are certain things that have happened in this last year that would have been so much harder if we hadn't have had Georgia there with us. But these are just a few of my thoughts and reflections as Georgia comes up to being 1 year old and how being her mum has changed my life. I'd love to know down in the comments, if you're a mum, how has being a mum changed your life? Or if you're expecting a baby, what are you most looking forward to? But I hope this video has been helpful and really encouraged you and maybe shown you some of the really good ways that being a mum can change your life. If you have found this video helpful, do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold. We share videos every Saturday all about encouraging Christian families to pray with confidence and creativity. We talk about prayer and about exploring the Bible and about Christian faith and Christian motherhood. And if you'd like to hear some of the ways that I pray with my baby, just check out this video right here. And we will see you very soon for a new video. Bye!